If you're considering picking up a Panasonic G85, but you're a bit hesitant because it's an older, slightly outdated camera, then I hope these 3 reasons will help you make your decision. If you're new, welcome to 2022 on the channel. I make videos about cameras and freelance videography. So if that's something you're into, then you can do whatever you want. Now, the very first reason to buy the Panasonic G85 in 2022 will be the absolutely insane value used. Now, I'm somebody who really enjoys buying, I pretty much buy everything camera-wise used. You can find camera bodies for $100, $200, $300 less than if you bought new, and oftentimes they've only been used a few times. The only drawback to that is that you might not get the manufacturer warranty, and there could be some sketchy stuff there. Generally speaking, I'm okay with making those cost benefit analysis, and for me it's turned out pretty well. So right now, even though it's hard to find a Panasonic G85 new, typically I'm seeing bodies range anywhere from $500 to $600, but the real kicker is picking up a Panasonic G85 used is right around, as of January 2022, $375, give or take. Now, for my personal needs, and we'll talk about applications later on in the video, it just blows me away that you can find something as feature packed as the G85 for that price. When it comes to the competition, you're looking at some sort of older Sony camera like a Sony a6000 or an a6300. But for my needs, those cameras make way too many compromises for my style of shooting, which we'll get into also later in the video. When I look at Canon in this price range, I can't really find anything that works for my needs either. Now, I'm sure I've completely forgotten multiple cameras that are in that $370 price range, so make sure to comment below what your recommendations would be to somebody in this price range and why you personally think that that camera is better than the G85. So insane value is number 1. So number 2 is some of the best in-body image stabilization in the industry. Panasonic is well known for having some of the best in-body image stabilization, and that translates into moving the sensor to match those movements, which creates a more steady image. Now, if you match up the G85 with any Sony APS-C camera with IBIS, you're really not gonna find anything like it. Same thing, in my opinion, with Fujifilm. My XS10 didn't measure up to the G85 either. So we're talking about cameras that are triple, quadruple, even some really high-end brand new pro cameras nowadays don't measure up to the Panasonic G85's in-body image stabilization. It's just that good. Now, I actually have a story where I picked the G85 over my Fuji XS10 in a specific situation at a recent event. I think the story really highlights how reliable and how great the Panasonic G85 is. So I was getting ready to shoot this event, and the event was starting at 10 a.m. And so I was like all set to go, got my 3 angles going. And then at the last second, I was like, where is everybody? And so I go to the event coordinator and I say, hey, is he doing his talk inside? She says, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't let you know. He's actually going to be doing his talk at 4 different locations on the farm. And I was like, oh crap. So that means I have to grab one camera that I can handhold that won't overheat in the 85-degree direct sunlight and has enough battery to last me the hour or so of shooting outdoors. So I was like, okay, I could grab the XS10. The image will be significantly better than the G85's, but there's that small chance that it will overheat, actually good chance that it'll overheat. And then 2, the battery might run out unless I hook up a heavy Sony NPF to it. And I also didn't have time to rush and get a tripod and set it up, so I needed something that I could grab, that I could handhold, and that looked really, really solid. So all that to say, I went over to one of my side angles, I grabbed my Panasonic G85, it had the battery grip on it, and I knew that it wasn't gonna overheat. The IBIS is rock solid, so it's gonna look really, really stable, even though I'm tired and hand holding it for like 20 to 30 minutes at a time. So I knew that it wasn't gonna overheat. I knew that it wasn't gonna run out of battery, and I knew the IBIS would look super, super stable for the client. So all that said, I picked a $370 camera for a professional off-the-cuff moment over my Fujifilm XS10, which runs for like 900 to 1,000 used. So that is a testament, in my opinion, to the reliability of the IBIS, but also the honorable mentions of not overheating and battery life as well. So we've got the value, we've got the IBIS, and then lastly, we can't forget the 4K image on this thing. I've kind of alluded to it, but this camera does not have any record limits or overheating on that 4K footage, which is just kind of a cherry on the top for what I shoot. So this footage shoots at 4K 24p at 100 megabits per second, which is plenty of information, at least for my application. It's only 8-bit, so you're not gonna be shooting in profiles like Vlog. I typically shoot in natural, so I don't have to do a whole lot of tweaking to it. And in my opinion, the 4K looks fantastic. So it has plenty of information. Another thing I love about the image is it's sharp, but it's not too sharp, if you know what I mean. Some cameras like Fuji, I hate to throw them under the bus in this video, but Fuji footage, in my opinion, looks really, really over sharpened, and that's a big issue that I had with the Fujifilm X-S10. I'll be talking about that in future videos, but the G85's footage looks really nice, sharp, rich, and organic. And I'm pretty sure that has to do with the fact that it's a 16 megapixel sensor versus like the GH5 is 20, the S5 is 24. So you're not getting as much oversampling shoved into that one 4K image. So in my opinion, the footage just has this really nice organic feel to it. So if you're considering shooting events, then yes, Panasonic G85, fantastic. If you're considering podcasting or you're shooting sit-down interviews, if you don't need autofocus, the Panasonic G85 really is that good for those things. In the meantime, this was fun, and we will see you all next week.